How do you stay calm when you're under attack, literally in front of everyone? I was reffing a game recently and the coaches were bullying me, pushing me around. And I had a choice in that moment. I could bite back or I could lead in a different way. Let me tell you how that moment became a life lesson in leadership. I'm Mindy Arbuckle, and I am a sacred feminine guide and holistic coach, as well as a volleyball coach. And this past weekend, all of my sacred feminine leadership skills were put to the test. I made one mistake. I made a correction to that mistake, and then the coaches were just horrible, argumentative on the field when they shouldn't have been on the court. They were pushing every single boundary they had. And I had a moment to pause. I could bite back, I could lead, or I could respond to their aggression with more aggression and shut them down with power that is loud and mean, or I could lean into the things that I've been developing over the past two and a half decades. I could take a deep breath, ground myself, regulate myself and my emotions, because obviously those two coaches and the club director over here were not with their aggressive yelling across the court. I chose something different. I chose to honor myself. I chose to not respond negative to negative, because that doesn't actually make positive energy. It just pulls everybody else down. And I chose to rise above this situation. Did I do it perfectly? No, I didn't. I know now with reflection, I could have done some things better, but I held my own. I stayed in my center. And yes, it's taken me a couple of days to re-regulate after the most stressful experience over the last few years I've had. And I'm very proud of myself for being able to rely on the skills that I've developed, to be able to say that this way of leading does work. Even if they don't look like it's working because they're still being mean, everyone else in that gymnasium saw exactly what was going on. This is the difference between the old ways and the new ways. The old ways of patriarchy are push, aggression, loud, force, bully. And the new ways of feminine leadership and holistic, harmonious leadership, that is leading with centeredness, with understanding, with compassion. I know that those two coaches were just fighting for their teams. I get it. They were doing it in very inappropriate ways. However, I understood where they were coming from. Could they have done it better? Yes. Could I have controlled the situation better? Yes, because in that moment, it was so stressful, I forgot all of my reffing skills, the skills to control the game like that. I've never been in that situation before. And so in this moment, I wasn't perfect. I relied on the skills that I have practiced the most in my life, of emotional regulation, of grounding, of breathing, of staying present, of remembering that I don't need to go back into the old ways of my being, which under stress like that, who can relate to this? I felt like the old me would have responded with, they are falsely accusing me. I didn't do anything wrong. Maybe I did do something wrong. And then you go into the self-blame and self-shame, and then you kind of collapse, and then they take over. I chose not to let the old ways take over. I chose my new ways. I chose my sacred feminine ways of leadership to take over, and it worked. You know what? My skills as a ref, they're gonna get better because of this. I'm gonna have the ability to call yellow cards and toss coaches out if I need to in the future. Hopefully that never happens again. But I really don't mind being tested. I don't mind the universe pushing me to see if what I believe in, what I've been practicing and teaching for so long, is really embodied. And you know what? It is. It feels good to have this in my body, because consciously choosing a different response is a gift. It is the new way that humanity is moving toward, but there are old ways that people are still stuck in. That is okay, because this isn't really just about a game, is it? This is about the microcosm of all the things that are happening in our world today. Some people still move out of aggression and control because that's what they were raised with. That's what they know. That's what they've relied upon. But there are so many of us learning a different way. One based on self-regulation, on understanding, compassion, strength through empathy, leadership through staying calm. This is the shift. And every time any of us choose that shift, we are helping shape humanity's future. We are becoming the people we want to become. We are the change. So I'm going to invite you to reflect. How do you respond to great challenges, to conflict? And how do you want to respond? How could you embrace leading with love instead? And what does that look like for you in your life? Because this isn't theory. I've been teaching this for decades, and it's not theory. This is how I live, and this is how we can live in today's world. We will get pushed, we will get tested, but this works. And I will tell you that the people who were observing this, everyone who saw this gigantic conflict, out of everyone, they noticed the shift. My parents, from the girls that I coach, came up to me afterwards, not just to check in with me because of the extreme hardship I just went through, but because they felt how I led. And they so deeply appreciated that. One of the parents said, "Mindy, you are teaching our girls life lessons that are way beyond volleyball, and we are so grateful for that." This is something that people notice, and I want you to feel comfortable and confident in that. And if you want support, I actually have a course starting in a couple of weeks called Be More You. And this is a 4-week identity reclamation circle designed for women specifically, because we're the ones who have been pushed around. And we're also the ones who have adopted negative patriarchal ways of dealing with conflict that don't really fit with us. They feel
7th.
familiar to some of us. We either push back with that aggression or we collapse. And neither way is aligned with our highest self, and neither way is going to get us moving forward in this societal shift. So if you want support, please take a look at the links below, add a comment. I will respond to all the comments, and let me know, how do you lead? How do you respond to conflict? And how do you want to lead? Do you want support in this? Do you want to anchor into you? Because no matter who we are, how long we've been on this journey, there's always evolution. There's always new experiences that we're going to go through. And that's what gives us the skills to keep going and getting better at being us. So whether you are new to this path of self-regulation and sacred feminine leadership, or you've been working on this for decades, I invite you to join me. I would love to have you. We can always get better. All right, all my love. I'll talk to you soon.